Hello, everybody. Chef Marcus Guiliano here. Welcome to In the Weeds. In the Weeds is a restaurant business podcast. I'm sharing my stories and business tips to help you through your restaurant journey. Sometimes I have a guest, and today I have more than a guest. I have Jamie, my wife, joining me.
Your business partner.
My business partner. Since 2003 in the restaurant, and she adds a very unique style or a very unique or different angle to a lot of my stuff. Her and I do business coaching together, and she's the feminine
I have
side.
a different touch.
Totally different touch.
Totally different touch. Yeah.
Totally different touch. So I wish you'd get on these with me more, because I think people need to hear what you have to say.
Well, I think there's male and female
absolutely
owners out there, and I think that we can relate to each other differently. When there's a woman who is talking to another woman, you relate differently, or sometimes a man can pick up things that, I might say that you might not necessarily think about.
Right. Exactly. Just totally different.
Totally different, different style of teaching, learning, talking, all that stuff.
Yep, exactly. So today's episode number 26, we're going to talk about a brand new technology or a technology. We've seen it. So I don't want to say brand new,
2 years.
But the sales profession is like the oldest profession in the world, right? You've always had to, no matter who you've been, to sell something, whether you were trading, bartering something in prehistoric times, caveman times, you were trading, which was a form of selling.
And one of the things we always have learned is that, you are the only one who can sell. I want to say yourself, but you have to be an advocate for yourself and be a salesperson and know your product really well.
Know it and believe in it.
Sell it and believe in it, right?
Right.
Because if you don't believe in it, it's hard for the business owner to trust the salesperson in front of them.
Right. So when I go to a restaurant and I say, "Oh, how's this Chardonnay?" and the server says to me, "Oh, I don't drink. I don't know."
Right.
I'm like, well, does anybody drink here? Like who picked the wine, right? And this is a wine by the glass, where she can easily say to me, "People love the Chardonnay, but before I pour you a glass, let me give you a small taste to make sure you like it." Instead, "I don't know. I don't drink." Right.
Or I haven't tasted that. That's kind of a big turnoff. I mean, I definitely would agree with that. So we immediately say, all right, let's taste it first. Well, can we taste it?
Can we taste it?
Right. So can we taste it? So
now let's talk about this technology, the GPS tracking of salespeople, which we've noticed it's happening more and more. Companies want to know where their salespeople are in the field. They want to see where we've done this.
It's not only salespeople, though. I'm just going to throw this out there. I mean, they're GPSing tracking drivers,
of course.
Well.
I was just going to say.
So it's not only tracking the salesperson, but it's tracking everything about the business down to where they're stopping and what time they stop for lunch and how long they're there and all that stuff. So, this GPS tracking is pretty crazy.
Right. So yeah,
who has time for it, really?
So there's so much data now, and they're trying to So now they've taken this technology and put it into salespeople. Certain companies that we know, without mentioning any names here, there are certain companies, the beverage industry is one of them. A couple of companies are now tracking their salespeople. But some of these companies, the reason why they're doing it is because they're saying, okay, salesperson Johnny, account XYZ, bistro, whatever, is only spending $1,000 every month, and bistro S is spending
$5,000
a month. So we're going to allocate you a half an hour a month to the first place, and we're going to allocate you 4 hours a month for the second place, because we're figuring if they're buying more, you're going to spend more time there. And the place that is not spending as much, we're going to cut your time down there. And they track these sales managers.
They only want you there a certain amount of time.
And that's it. Because they figured out so much to the point of, this is our profit.
They have figured it out.
Logistically, they think they figured it out to where this is our profit margin. This is what we should be doing. And you have some elaborate equation, and the program spits out a number and says, okay, you've got 18 minutes there. And if you're more than 18 minutes of that stop, something's wrong, and you need to get to a different stop that's more profitable. Now,
But they're also, not only are they tracking the time that they're there, but there are beer companies that are tracking what you have on tap. They're tracking what wines by the glass you have, how many rows you have. So when they make a stop, the salesperson at a business, they have to track something and take a picture,
report it back,
so that the company, number one, knows that they were there, right? And number two, knows what products the company is carrying and competing against. Yeah.
So now here's my biggest problem. Now I'm going to give a story because I cannot stand this. I'm going to give a story about a brewery way back years ago. We opened in 2003, 2004. There was a brewery that is on the East Coast here that I happen to really love. I was buying a lot of their beer. I'd have their beer on draft all the time. I'd buy their special releases. And let's say 2005, I bought, 15 kegs from them and so many cases. 2006, I bought maybe 12 kegs and so many cases, a little bit cases less. So what I had done was I had brought this brewery in. We brought this brewery in. We had loved their beer, promoted them, brought them to a certain level. And then all of a sudden, other breweries were giving us attention. So what happens is other breweries come in and compete, and all of a sudden the pie gets smaller for everybody, right? So this company, their pie got a little smaller and a little smaller and a little smaller. And after 6 or 7 years, their piece of the pie shrunk to nothing.
Right.
Literally nothing, like 1 keg a year and maybe 1 case a year. That's it. It shrunk down to that. So I'd asked the owner to do a beer dinner with us. And he said yes. He did. He would. And I said, don't make a special arrangement when you're in the area. We'll do it. Don't make a special trip for me. Right. This, that. Very, very, very polite. I understand time is money and this and that. So we set up a date. Then he emails me back and goes, I'm sorry, you misled me. I thought you were an account of ours. I thought you were a client. I thought your numbers were higher in the email. And I'm like, he goes, I can't commit to doing a dinner because you don't have enough numbers.
I'm not coming, basically.
I'm not coming because
he said last minute even.
Right, because I'm not coming because you don't have enough numbers. You haven't bought enough of my beer. So I immediately said to myself, and this was a learning lesson that I taught, and I went online and posted this as a learning lesson. This brewery should have been the second or third year that our numbers are dying. Said, why aren't Marcus and Jamie buying enough of our beer anymore? And then the fourth year, when they see it dwindling, and the fifth year they see it dwindling, why aren't Marcus and Jamie buying enough? They used to buy a lot of our beer. Let me pick up the phone and call them, see what I can do, touch base, and
find out why they're not buying from us.
Right. Or just tell them what we have.
Right.
Just tell them what we have. And it got to a point where he then used this. And so you don't buy enough. Well, I did buy enough. You didn't sell enough to me. I was buying enough. And you're just terrible follow-up, terrible, all this kind of stuff. And I went after them publicly, and it was a big thing. And I said, because this just isn't right. Like, you canceled our beer dinner because you have no idea who's going to be sitting in the crowd at our beer dinner. First of all, you have no idea. It could be another restaurant owner that's going to say, wow, I love this beer. I'm going to put this on tap. And there you go. Boom. It could be somebody who's getting married and wants this beer at their wedding. If you don't know who's in the crowd, right. No idea. It could be your next territory salesperson
no idea.
For your company. You have no idea. So, and that's part of your job, is to go out there and get new business. They have no problem going out and getting new business. So they have no problem going and getting new business, but they have a problem rekindling business from business they've already had. Now, if you and I in the restaurant industry, all of us in the restaurant industry, every single time tried to get a new customer in the door, we'd be like, oh my gosh, like, where do you get new customers? Where do you get new customers? If you're only getting new customers, because if a customer falls off, if one of our customers falls off, hey, open up your email. We'll send you a birthday offer. We'll send you something to rekindle that relationship and get you back in here, hopefully. So,
well, yes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that to me, that was a ridiculous on his part, but we see it all the time. It's not only that one brewery,
right?
It is the business itself. I mean, we have one business, right, that we used to buy a ton of product from, a ton of beer, a ton of stuff, and they just don't come see us.
Right.
They just don't put a salesperson on us. I don't know if that salesperson is lazy or we just don't spend with them, so they don't spend the time coming here.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but you have to put in time to get the business.
Right.
And that's kind of where we're leading into talking about what is expected as a business owner and what is expected from the business owner as a salesperson.
Now, this company, this one particular company that the salesman never comes in. He sends us a text message. His computer says, he can't be here because we don't buy from him. At some point, they have to break the cycle of that algorithm.
Right.
They've got to say the algorithm for Marcus and Jamie isn't working.
So what
They're not
can
buying.
we do?
Break
What
the
can we do?
break the algorithm, walk in the door, see us face to
Right.
face, spend time with. Now, over the years, this company has had different salespeople.
And we've called the company.
We've called
numerous
we've
times
called,
and talked to, high up management.
we have. So now one salesperson was fantastic. We bought all the time. The
Mhm.
next salesperson came in for a couple of years, never showed up. We never bought. The next salesperson, who the first two salespeople were very knowledgeable,
Mhm.
but one showed up, we bought. The other one didn't show up, we didn't buy. The third salesperson we had that was in the company was zero knowledge, ton of ambition, showed up, we bought tons of stuff. The eighth person didn't last long, lasted 6 months. New person comes in, never sees us, sales go right back down. If I was that company, I'd be looking at those numbers so carefully, as instead of looking at the overall dollar amount we spent and the time a salesperson's allowed to step in here. Now, let's take this because I believe this sucks. You think it sucks. Most people think that sucks. It makes sense on paper, but it doesn't make sense actual, and you have to break that tradition. Now let's spin this around to how do we apply this into the restaurant industry? Where does
Can I just go back for 1 minute? The expectation that we have of a salesperson is more of a relationship
based?
We want to build a relationship with our distributors, right? Or
Our
the
salespeople.
So that is important to us. I got a call today from a local person that we buy our gelato from, and I sent an email and she immediately called me to say, hey, is this what you want? But this is what I can give you. When do you want it? That to me is customer service, right? She picked up the phone and called me even after I sent her a text message, an email confirming what I wanted. Now that is a person that I want to do business with, right? Because we've built that relationship with her over however many years. And that's important. You come in the door and taste us on wine. We might not buy the first time. We might not buy the second time. But the third time, when we're looking for something, guess who we're going to think of when we need something? It's the person that spent the time
in the process of coming in 1, 2, 3 times.
Mhm.
We're building a friendship, a rapport, and a trust.
Yep.
And you can't build a friendship on an algorithm of time.
No.
You can't build trust on the algorithm of that time.
No.
You cannot do any of that. So now spin this around. When you market to our guests, now we're restaurant owners talking to guests.
Yes.
What makes a guest come back in?
A relationship.
I mean, trust.
How many people have been coming here since our children, to our business for 18 years, who ask about our kids, who are asking because we're friends. And I made this comment the other day to somebody, and I said, we have built so many friends through our business, through our restaurant, right?
Right.
Because we care, we're here, we talk to them, we ask about their children, we talk about how they're doing, we bring them on trips with us, all of that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
We're building the relationship with them. Like I know probably 100 people that if I called them tomorrow and said, I need something.
I need a job.
I need a
job. We just closed a restaurant.
A job, whether it's
a car ride,
whatever it is, you're in trouble, you need help, you just need something brought somewhere else. I know that I could call so many people and they would be there in a heartbeat.
They would help out.
They would help us. But
now,
that's building.
Imagine putting this algorithm to test with our wait staff. Imagine having table 1 and table 2. Table 1 orders 2 steaks. They spend $70 on entrees. Table 1 has a salad and appetizer. Table 2. Imagine if our wait staff on their order pad said, well,
you can only go to that table one time. Now you can go to table 2 5 times because they've spent 5 times the amount of what table 1 spent.
Right.
I mean, that is ridiculous.
Imagine that being employed onto our wait staff, that kind of stupidity. Now, granted, table 1, let's say they start popping a $300 bottle of wine. You're going to want to spend a little more time there, but you don't want to alienate table 2 because they didn't spend something, because you don't know if table 2 is getting married in a year, their daughter's getting married, their cousin's getting married, or how many times they're going to come in.
You have no idea.
One of the biggest revelations to us when you start running numbers on your best guests, the people who spend the most, are the people who walk in and have the small transactions, but they're here frequently.
Right.
They come in for beer and wings. They're not coming in and sitting down and ordering a $100 bottle of wine and a $35 steak. It's beer and wings. They're coming in and getting out for 20 bucks at a time, but they're doing that consistently. Consistency wins the race here, right? So when you look at those numbers, it's shocking that those small little things, those small little transactions add up to a big picture. Because if you look at, again, the algorithm and says, well, this person only ordered wings and a beer, I'm not going to go there that much
time with
that
them.
person wouldn't come back twice a week, and that person would be gone, and the lifetime value of the guest is gone. So that algorithm that these companies are employing with their salespeople to us restaurateurs doesn't account for lifetime value of what we would spend by you being a genuine salesperson. The one person,
a genuine person, right? Genuine,
right? The one person who does this, the one company, he'll text us, do you guys need anything? And I feel like saying
every time
a salesperson. I need a sales.
And we are going to say it one of these
I'm going to say it one of these times and get me on a day where you know what? There's no filter today.
Right.
I need a salesperson.
Yep.
I was going to text the other day. Honestly, I don't really know what you sell, but there's 4 or 5 products that we do know what they sell. So beyond the 4 or 5 products that I've bought from you in the past, I really honestly don't know what you sell. Is what I'm probably going to start.
That's what you need to say.
It's probably what my answer is going to be with them. So how could I buy something if I really don't see you?
I mean, we have one salesperson. She comes in every single month. We don't buy from her every single month.
No.
But she comes in every month, tastes us on things, and is just a genuine friend.
Yep.
Right. And that is the person that I'm going to think of the next time I need to go and buy something.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't matter how many times I buy from her. She comes in and she spends the time with us.
Right. So business is done the old fashioned way. And when you get too techie, it's not good. So that's it, folks.
It's a turnoff. It's a big turnoff.
So don't let the technology that we have as restaurant owners interfere with how we interact with our guests, because too much technology is not good.
I think at one point, well, speaking of technology, we had tablets, right? And we went to the table with the tablets and we realized that we were looking at the tablets so much that we weren't paying attention to the guests.
Right. There's a balance with the tablet.
Like
there's a balance with the tablet. There's a balance with all it. There's a balance with using that QR code for the phone. Because people get distracted on their phone. If they're on their phone looking at the menu and all of a sudden a notification comes up, they go off of it. They don't get back to the menu. I think it takes longer. I just think, this is a hunch of mine, it takes longer for people to order food when they have to look at their phone on the menu and scroll through pages than having something handed to them and being able to look straight down it. That's just a hunch. That's just a hunch I have. So if you're a high turnover restaurant, I don't think that those QR codes are helping you flip tables quicker. So, but that's it. So folks, thank you for tuning in. If you need more tips, go to 50mistakes.com, 50mistakes.com. That is my website that has
50 mistakes. 50, and then you said 50. So 50mistakes.com.
50mistakes.com. 50mistakes.com. 50mistakes.com. You can get my book for free, 50 Mistakes That Business Owners Make. It's geared towards the restaurant industry. Follow the link there for free book. Watch some videos. There's tons of free content there. And we'd love to have you subscribe to our email list and get some updates from us. And thank you for tuning into In the Weeds, our business podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Talk to you later.